Welcome to Trippin Through Motherhood, the podcast where we share real stories, break down barriers, and uplift the voices of Black women. I'm Lauren Elliott, founder and CEO of Candlelit Care, and in our first episode, we'll be diving into the bittersweet journey that led to the creation of Candlelit Care. It's a tale of two empowering yet challenging birth stories. This is a space where we tackle the realness of motherhood while also shedding light on the most common struggles that Black moms face in accessing traditional mental and behavioral health care, and the moments of motherhood where culturally relevant support can be life-changing. You've probably heard the phrase, just because you didn't see me fall doesn't mean I didn't trip. Well, motherhood is full of trips, stumbles, and falls, often ones you can't see from the outside. But that doesn't mean we don't face obstacles. Why are you tripping? Let's identify your struggles, the shame of falling, and what happens when we finally get back up. Because here, we know that when we fall, we can always rise again, together. And this is our first episode. We're beyond excited to kick off this journey with you, so thank you for listening. So let's get into today's episode and talk about why Candlelit Care exists. Hey everyone, thanks so much for listening to our very first episode. We're seriously grateful you're here, and we wanted to take a quick moment to share something close to our hearts. Before we dive back into the episode, we wanted to share something that means a lot to us. Candlelit Care is all about mental health and coaching support made specifically for women of color and their families. It's not your typical one-size-fits-all care. It's support that actually sees you, understands you, and won't make you feel worse. And here's something really special. You can gift Candlelit Care, whether it's for a baby shower, a birthday, or just because someone you love needs that extra support. Skip the diapers and give them something that really lasts. Because let's be honest, we probably have enough diapers, right? But mental wellness, that's what stays with you. As a thank you for joining us on this new episode and this new journey, we're offering a special promo code, TRIPPINPOD, TRIPPINPOD. Head to candlelitcare.com to learn more and use that code for a discount. Thank you for your support and enjoy the rest of the episode. Becoming a mom is often portrayed as a joyous moment on TV and social media. But for many, it's often followed by some unexpected challenges and emotions. I'm Lauren Elliott, founder and CEO of Candlelit Care, a virtual mental health clinic for women of color who are either considering motherhood, currently pregnant, or have just given birth, and they're in their postpartum. And I know because I've walked this path myself. After experiencing a traumatic birth of my oldest son, I realized the critical need for accessible and compassionate mental health support for parents, especially within our communities.
And I'm Clarké Lunara, founding member of Candlelit Care and also a mother who happened to have a fantastic birth experience, but a less than fantastic postpartum, to put it lightly. We're here to keep it honest, keep it educational, and cultivate open, vulnerable, emotional spaces. So welcome to Trippin Through Motherhood, our very first episode. In each episode, we'll talk about topics like perinatal mental health, share stories of resilience, and discuss how we can support one another through this beautiful and complex journey of parenthood.
So Clarke, let's start with you. I know you had a very different birth experience than I did, and you gave birth at the height of the pandemic, right? What was that like?
Okay. Yeah. Delivering during the height of the pandemic. That's a trip. So, although my birth experience itself was pretty smooth, every dynamic after was not so smooth. I think a lot of the postpartum experience for me was a lot of letting go. So, I had this vision, right, of connection and community and being seen, and was going to have 6 of my closest, best friends come in to care for me and my baby and my husband during this period, just because of how intense I knew that it was. And delivering 2 days after the stay-at-home orders, this is at the point during the pandemic where we had news stories of people dropping in the streets in New York, and we had no options and not a lot of good information, and a lot of misinformation because it was day 2. So all of that support that I lined up failed, and the anxiety level The anxiety around my husband who works in the medical setting. Are you going to come home and accidentally cause harm or kill my baby, our baby, right? Are we working with a situation where we need to isolate from each other because of this, right? We had so many unknowns, and now I'm getting really far into it, but these were the trips, right? Like that I did not expect. The emotional stumbling blocks of navigating just global anxiety paired with postpartum anxiety and depression during the pregnancy. I was not prepared for it, and the feelings of isolation were exacerbated by those environmental factors. I thought I had it figured out, but the mental health side of things, right, you can't always anticipate what's going to happen there. No one told me that a pandemic was going to happen, right? I knew that there were additional risks for anyone, right, during their pregnancy, but I didn't quite identify it as depression for myself. And it was easy to normalize anxiety because that's how everyone was feeling, right? Everyone was feeling isolated and anxious, and it's a lot harder to figure out what you need specifically when you're in that isolation. So that was, I would say, the biggest combination factor for me.
I know what you mean. So with my oldest, I had a very difficult birth because I didn't realize at the time, of course, but I had two conditions sort of happening at once. I had sort of brewing anxiety and I had preeclampsia. And I noticed, not in the moment, but I noticed that my preeclampsia, how that was treated, basically. And then how the anxiety that I was feeling at the time, that I didn't have the words, I couldn't name it, I didn't know what those symptoms sort of measured up to or were called, wasn't treated at all. No one even referenced any of those symptoms. No one even mentioned you may be anxious, or I know this isn't anxious, or this is not sort of like helpful news or not the best news, or no one even sort of remotely referenced what I could possibly be feeling after I got the news that my son was in distress. So I noticed the emotional toll of both, just they didn't end when I got discharged from the hospital. And for moms, I feel like the symptoms hit us like a ton of bricks. And I don't believe most of us even realize the toll that feeling ignored or dismissed plays on our health, physically and mentally. And that's when, for me, the anxiety, fear, and ultimately the problem that we are solving with Candlelit Care started to come together. At the end of the day, it's compassionate support for moms and dads who grew up exposed to the same daily stress, but don't always get access to care they need.
Absolutely. And it's so important to be able to look at mental health from all angles, right? Before pregnancy, during and after baby is born, regardless of how long we were pregnant, regardless of the delivery method that we had, we have to be able to look at this holistically. We also know that Black women face higher risks of experiencing mental health struggles without the necessary support. And it's one of the obstacles that we face that many people just don't understand. I think that comes from a place of, sometimes folks want to paint a silver lining around the cloud and say, well, at least, or it can't be that bad. And sometimes it really just is. And you just need someone to say, I believe you. I trust you that that's your experience.
Whether that's because it's not covered by insurance or just outright feels disrespectful in the moment. And here's the truth. 23% of maternal deaths are due to mental health conditions, and Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications than white women. This is partly due to our mental and physical health being overlooked by the healthcare system. We're talking about structural inequalities in healthcare and the drama that comes with being dismissed by medical professionals. It's something we need to fix, but it's also something that requires systemic change.
Exactly. And it's not just about healthcare. It is about community. Our Black maternal health is linked to the strength of our networks, how we are or are not supported by those around us. And when we don't have that community, those struggles get even harder, right? I know that in my postpartum journey, I felt so isolated, and it did not help that mental health issues were often brushed under the rug. I would say both socially, right? So although within my tiny little network, we knew about those things, right? No one was asking and checking in about that. And again, if we can just focus on, are you being fed? How's baby doing? Are you sleeping, right? We're not normally asking, how's your mental health as the first default go-to question.
That's right. For Black moms, the lack of culturally competent care in mainstream mental health services is a huge barrier. Candlelit Care is trying to change that by offering a space where parents feel safe, understood, and truly supported. Our goal is to provide resources and services that reflect the real lives of Black families. Building community is where healing begins. And let's face it, no one should feel this shame about needing support. The more we talk about our experiences, whether it's about pregnancy, birth, or the emotional struggles that follow, the more we realize we're not alone, the better. And the sooner we heal. That's why Candlelit Care is all about creating a space to come together where no one feels judged or silenced, you know?
Yes, it is not just about medical care, exactly like you said it. This is about community care, right? You know, building spaces where we can have actual conversations, like not just the superficial, how's it going, but the real, how are you doing, without the guilt and the shame, and actually ask for what you need and know that you're gonna receive it. And let's face it, the journey through motherhood is hard. Sometimes we trip, and that's okay, right? You're allowed to trip. You're allowed to stumble. We're all allowed to make mistakes. And who's around us to pull us back up? Are there people around us to say, hey, there's a rock coming ahead. I noticed that you're running right towards it, right? These are the things that we receive through community care. We need others to back us up and remind us that we are not doing this alone, and help us keep going when we can't do it by ourselves.
Yes, that's the whole reason why Black Maternal Health Week is so powerful. It's a reminder that we need to support each other. It's a week dedicated to advocacy and action. The collective action of Black-led organizations and community groups is essential to creating the change we need in maternal health. All right, I am so glad we got to share so much about the birth of Candlelit Care, our individual births. Let's wrap up today's episode with a little fun. Clarke, we've got some rapid fire questions from the producers. What's your favorite self-care ritual?
Favorite self-care ritual, and I don't know if it counts, is getting golden milk lattes with oat milk. I don't know if a golden milk latte is real self-care, but I'd say that's it. I know that things like grocery shopping and basic hygiene don't count as self-care, but a long shower, listening to music completely by myself without any little fingers trying to pull the shower curtains also feels like self-care. But a ritual, I would say, is having a golden milk latte and sitting down and enjoying it quietly.
What's your favorite comfort food?
Okay, my favorite comfort food probably changes over time. I'm tempted to say one of two things. One is penne alla vodka. I don't know if everyone's familiar with that one, but like a really good one, like a creamy one with strong aromatic garlic flavors and probably garlic bread that's really, really buttery on the side. And for me, all dairy free, but all the same, I'd say penne alla vodka has always been my favorite go-to, but it has to be made properly. If not, I'd say lasagna. I don't know, I guess I'm just like a creamy noodle kind of person.
Okay, and lastly, if you had a superpower, what would it be?
If I had a superpower, it would be the ability to go back slightly. Not too much, go back slightly. In the moments, I think, as a mom, where I feel myself get frustrated, burnt out, activated, and I know I didn't respond the way that I would have liked to, I would love nothing more than the ability to rewind 2 minutes and be like, girl, you're dysregulated. Pull it together, take a breather, walk away, and then have a conversation. I would love that. If it couldn't be that, I would say the ability to pause in the moment, which kind of accomplishes the same purpose, right? Like the ability to pause, stop everything, not continue to impact the situation, and be like, whew, what do you need right now? So that I can get my head on straight and then keep going forward and then press play. Yeah, something like that.
Thanks so much for sharing, Clarke. Those are amazing answers. I was taking notes I need to try all of these. Can I do all of them? Please. Okay, real quick, before we wrap things up, we've got something special just for you. If you've been enjoying the show and what we're about, we'd love for you to check out Candlelit Care. They offer personalized mental health and coaching services created specifically for women of color and their families. Because healing and support should never be one size fits all. Candlelit Care gets it, and they're doing things differently. And here's something even more amazing. You can gift a coaching session to a mom you know or a parent you know. Whether it's for a baby shower, a birthday, or just someone in your life who could just use a little extra care. It's meaningful. It's a wonderful gift that truly lasts. Because, let's be honest, we've all got enough stuff. What we really need sometimes is support that meets us where we are. And as a thank you for listening to our very first episode, please use the code TRIPPINPOD, TRIPPINPOD, at candlelit.care.com for a special discount. Don't forget to rate us 5 stars, leave a review, and share it with a friend or the fam. Your support means everything. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of Trippin' Through Motherhood. We hope that while our experiences are unique to us, that this conversation still serves you in the best way possible, as we know we're definitely not alone. And just like babies, caring for mommies also requires a village. And let our stories be your light to follow in the, I'm just gonna say it, darker, unpleasant, and unforeseen trips that come with motherhood.
So do continue to join us as we break down stigmas, share our real stories, and build a community where every parent feels seen, heard, and supported. Don't forget to subscribe to Trippin' Through Motherhood, share it with your friends, share it with the fam, and follow us on social media to join the conversation. Maybe we can feature you next. Let us know.
Until next time, keep tripping through motherhood, and don't forget, we are in this together. Okay.